SpaceX is the most successful rocket company in history. It closed out the past year with record-breaking financial results, but its flagship product, the Falcon 9 rockets, are becoming increasingly less vital to its bottom line. Today, rocket launches account for only about 20% of its total revenue. To truly understand how a $1.5 trillion company is being built, you have to look beyond the rockets and focus on the economics of global connectivity. For decades, the space industry relied on a single-use model. Companies built astronomically expensive vehicles that would completely burn up in the atmosphere after just one flight. SpaceX completely disrupted this paradigm through total vertical integration, manufacturing nearly every component in-house, from the smallest nuts and bolts to giant rocket engines. The company eliminated long, expensive supply chains. Combined with the reusability of its first-stage boosters, this has driven launch costs down to a point where competing essentially makes no economic sense. The estimated internal cost of a single flight for SpaceX is roughly $60 to $80 million, while its closest competitors spend at least 3 times that amount per launch. However, simply being the cheapest freight carrier isn't enough to achieve massive profitability. Launching rockets remains a high-risk business. That's why, in 2018, the company executed a strategic pivot and began deploying Starlink, its global satellite network. This move effectively transformed a physical transportation company into a digital service provider. Starlink operates on a classic software-as-a-service (SaaS) subscription model, just deployed in low Earth orbit. The network's architecture calls for a constellation of 15,000 satellites. Today, with roughly 8,000 satellites already active in orbit, economies of scale are kicking into high gear. Once the initial capital expenditures are covered, every new subscriber generates nearly pure profit margins. Everyday consumers, however, aren't the most compelling part of the company's financial model. The bulk of its projected revenue, estimated between $18 billion and $22 billion, is generated by the corporate and government sectors. Airlines, maritime shipping fleets, and military agencies require uninterrupted connectivity anywhere on the planet. Government contracts provide the foundational financial stability for SpaceX. Multi-billion-dollar agreements with NASA for the Artemis lunar landing program help offset the colossal costs of R&D for new technologies. Simultaneously, the company launched Starshield, a secure, closed version of its satellite network designed exclusively for government and defense applications. This has created an independent, highly lucrative revenue stream. For these clients, global internet access is critical infrastructure, meaning they are willing to pay premium rates that yield enormous profits for SpaceX. This financial model faces a hard physical constraint. Every satellite has a fixed bandwidth capacity, and in densely populated areas, the network quickly hits maximum load. Adding new subscribers inevitably leads to a drop in data speeds. The only mathematical solution to scale profits is to continuously increase the density of the orbital constellation. This is exactly why the financial stability of the entire company now depends critically on an endless cycle of launches, and why the economic efficiency of the Falcon 9 is approaching its physical limits. This is where the Starship system comes into play. It was designed to crash the cost of launching a kilogram of payload to a point where the launch itself will be cheaper than manufacturing the satellite. This will enable the deployment of a massive next-generation communications network capable of beaming internet directly to mobile devices without the need for additional hardware. Driven by this technology, SpaceX is stepping far beyond the aerospace industry. It is entering into direct competition with the planet's largest telecommunications giants for a slice of the multi-trillion-dollar mobile connectivity market. The company's true financial strategy lies in building a global monopolistic communications infrastructure right here on Earth. The reliable multi-billion-dollar recurring revenue from internet subscriptions is the financial engine that will ultimately fund humanity's future expansion to other planets.